All right, I'm going live.
What's up, Tim?
What's going on? So yeah, about this intro, maybe we should do it again because we were all muted. So sorry
We're,
about that.
oh,
Hey,
Tim.
producer
Wah,
error.
wah.
Sorry.
That's
Hey, I'm
hilarious.
juggling a bunch of things over
All
here.
right.
All right.
All right. Anybody who's paying attention, you didn't hear any of that shit we just said. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Hi, welcome. This is the
Well,
SVT Sports Pod. I'm Vince. I'm in the driver's seat today. Sam, how's it going?
I'm doing great, buddy.
Yeah.
Tyler's running a
Awesome.
little bit behind. He may join us later. Okay,
That's
now
right.
that you're up
Okay.
to speed.
Are we good now, Tim?
We're good. We're good.
Okay.
Sorry. It's a
Right
Monday,
off.
guys. A Monday.
Yeah. Monday,
Oh my
Monday.
God.
Okay. So
Good way to
we've
be
got,
buttoned up, bro. You
that's
only
right.
had a week.
Good grief. What the French toast? What the French toast, man?
All right, host. Let's get this back on.
All right, yeah.
Show back
Let's
on
get the
the-
wheels
on
on
the
the track.
tracks.
We're gonna talk a lot about the A's and the Las Vegas situation. You knew to expect it. Hell, that's the name of the episode title on the YouTube video. We're gonna talk a little bit about what the Giants have done as well. We're gonna talk NBA Finals, Stanley Cup update, the Cup date. There's a little bit of soccer news as well, especially relevant here to the Bay Area. We'll dive into that in a little bit as well. But first, it's the name of the episode, A's Las Vegas. Here we are. It's today's the day. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen today. That's the otherwise it'll be pushed into a special session. SB 509 is going, if they vote, bring it to a vote, it'll have to happen today. So we're just kind of waiting to see what happens there. Some news was kind of like trickling in. Some people with some inside sources were saying it's 50-50 at this point, whether it'll actually, get a vote taken on it, because right now there's a Democratic legislature and a Republican governor in Nevada, and they're arguing over the actual state budget, and they're not going to pass anything else until that state budget is rectified, to both parties' desires, I guess. So we'll see if they may have to go to a special session just for the regular budget, let alone, our silly little nonsense
Right.
about a baseball stadium. So we're gonna kind of just keep our eyes on the screens and keep you guys tuned in. For now, we're going to operate under the assumption that it will pass narrowly. Part of the problem is, of the people responding to the poll on the Nevada State Legislature website asking about SB 509, right now 72% are opposing, only about 4% are neutral. And that's actually kind of down because it was trending in the 80s before. So so not a lot of people are really in favor of this. A little over 20% are in favor. So you're looking at uh 4 people either against or neutral versus one person for it in the state right now, of
Yeah.
those that have responded. So that's definitely making a lot of legislators think twice about it. uh, there's been a lot of talk as well about how the drawings, the initial, renderings, artist renderings, just are shit. I mean, I'm sure we talked about that a bit without me.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
but
there
yeah.
was like a lot of comments. I think Brody Brazil even did one
Mhm.
on, and it was just kind of a summary of what was being discussed on Twitter, where like no access lanes and how generic it was.
Mhm.
No Ricky Henderson statues, no,
Right.
no nothing, you know. It's been
Yeah.
interesting to follow this. We were talking off air a little bit, catching up, and the the actual competitiveness of baseball, like the product on the field, clearly hasn't been very good this season, the past few seasons. As you know, John Fisher stripped this thing down to to the foundation, not even the studs that
Right. Yeah. He went past the studs. He knocked
yeah,
all the
it's
walls
like
down, man.
there is just the foundation, and that is what the athletics is right now. It's just a foundation to be built on, and it's either going to be built in Vegas or built in Oakland. Hopefully it's built in Oakland or rebuilt in Oakland, I guess you could say. Um to follow this, everybody's asking me about it. A lot of conversations on Twitter, and um I think people who've been consistent in watching the show, I'm not the best. I don't like social media. So, you know, like I like interacting with people, but I like doing it through the podcast. I like doing it through the comments. I like doing it person to person, face to face. Um, but I have to admit, man, I'm usually pretty, I'm a cucumber. I keep it cool, calm, and collected. And I was losing my stuff on Twitter. So I did get into some battles with people. So I do apologize for being a little too spicy on that. But in my defense, it's emotional. And
Mhm.
today is like an emotional day. It is I don't want to say it's the nail in the coffin that gets the A's to Las Vegas, but it
It jumps it from 95% to 98%. I'll tell you that.
exactly.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. It's
there's
like
like basically like two Hail Marys left for
exactly.
Oakland
And
has two plays left at this point, you know?
so I think right now the hope that I'm holding on to right now is there's a no vote. Ideally, it's a flat out no. That would be amazing.
Mhm.
Um, I'm hopeful for just a no vote. Like no vote happens before Tuesday, and we get to June 13th, and we go that route, and there's still like I'd rather have the story of it's not a for sure thing. Look at Oakland fans, pack the house. They funded their own giveaway. Shout out Oakland 68s, Hal the hot dog guy for organizing that. Oaklandish for donating. I mean, it has been an amazing ride. And I feel like we're in the thick of it as fans. Like this is happening to us, but every single like fan has received this call to action. There's like a place in SoCal that's fun where $1 from every pint sold gets donated to fund these t-shirts and
So
that
cool.
like
That's
it's a giveaway. There's a giveaway of t-shirts for like to like the first, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000 fans of sell t-shirts. And this community is coming together. We've been saying this for years and no one's been listening. Baseball hasn't been listening, is that there is a fan base here. There is a want, a need, a desire. And I believe Hal said this as well. John Fisher is going to be forever. If this happens, if they go to Vegas, John Fisher will be forever known as the man who murdered baseball in Oakland. Like,
Mhm.
it's like, damn, murderer.
that's right.
I'm going off the rails, Vince.
Yeah.
Reel me in.
Okay, so
I'm crazy over here.
those of you that have watched the last couple episodes noticed that I was not here. And unfortunately for me and my family, my grandfather passed away on Memorial Day. And he was a huge A's fan. And the only reason I'm even bringing it up is because he was also a Raiders fan and he saw the Raiders leave. And that absolutely crushed him back then. And he basically swore off the Raiders. Like he swore off football in general. Basically, he just the only thing he did was he played his little Monday Night Football squares with all of his other senior citizen people. So that's the only football he basically participated in the last like 5 or 6 years of his life was that. And so, but he still had the A's, So and then as this news kept breaking and it's just you could see it was crushing him emotionally as well. And he absolutely loved the A's, and I obviously loved the A's too. I was right there with him. Like I have memories. I talked about it a few weeks ago, going to opening day against the Red Sox when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 10 or something like that. And it was just me and him. And that was, great times and great bonding family memories that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. But those new situations, I'm not going to have that with any kid I might have, if the team goes away.
Yeah.
It's, and that's what's happening. That's what's at stake at this point is building generations of baseball fans in general. I mean, and cherished memories that last a lifetime. And it sucks. I'm glad he's not going to have to see the A's playing in Vegas, because that might have killed him if the cancer didn't beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks, but so I at least he's not going to have to see this, and it is devastating. And
absolutely,
this whole thing is just super emotional. As you said, this is you're ready to start some fights on Twitter, because it is an emotional thing. It's it's deep rooted in us. We've been cheering for them for fucking our entire lives.
Let her rip, baby.
Let it rip. Let the F-bombs fly.
Yeah, man, I had the honor to meet your grandfather and hang out with him at A's games and do a couple tailgates, and he supported us when we were doing the Relay for Lives, and he came out over there, and
he was always at the shows that we did in theater, and
the ideal grandfather. You know what I mean? The ideal grandfather, just a great man. And I'm really, my condolences to you, Vince, and your family, because he was a special man. And A's fandom lost a real one. And
for real.
Season ticket holder and multi-generational family of A's fans. Getting emotional just saying this.
I know.
Because it reminds me of my mom, and she was still an A's fan. It reminds me of the memories that I have with my father, my brother, going to games. The three of us, Dad, my brother, myself, we went to game 1, A's Red Sox, where Ramon Hernandez dropped that squeeze bunt.
The walk-off bunt.
Oh man. That was a great game.
That's a cardio workout, man.
Yeah, we lost the freaking series, but that was a great game. And I never forget this moment. I'm gonna go down memory lane for a moment. Because all the fans that were, folks who were maybe at this game, A's Red Sox game, we know what happened, right? But the entire game, there were some A's fans next to me, to my right. There were some big dudes, and they're all in their Oakland A's stuff, their jerseys, and a couple rows, like 2 rows ahead of us, there's maybe like 5 or 6 Red Sox fans, and they were like, we're from Boston, and at the time there was this TV show on History Channel. I want to say it was called like Modern Marvels.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And there was an episode on there about Boston's Big Dig, about this like mega infrastructure of a tunnel. And it was nicknamed the Big Dig, so the episode was called the Big Dig. And this Ace fan, like, he was just like, he didn't want to use a lot of profanity. It's a family environment, but he's this big dude like talking crap, and he's like, "Hey, the Big Dig sucks." Just like, huh? And he was like, go dig your tunnel, dude. Go bury yourself in the tunnel. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about, man? And he's like, you ever watch Modern Marvels? I was like,
Oh
yeah.
damn.
And he's like, I watched it. It was just so silly. So then we just started chiming in. Like we started chiming in with him, like, go dig your tunnel. Like just being annoying, being a pest. It
Right.
was stupid.
In the chat, I just want to shout out Jacob and Mike. Thanks for the condolences. I appreciate it, gentlemen.
Hey,
He
Jacob,
absolutely
Mike, what's up?
yeah,
Joe,
hey guys.
what's up?
Thanks for coming in, Joe as well. Thanks for dropping some comments in the chats. Appreciate you guys. And
what's
this
great?
is
You know what's great, Vince? I got
Well-
memories with everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Well, not Joe with going to an A's game. I don't think Joe and I went to an A's game. Joe, you should join us June 13th.
June 13th, if you can make it out from
Um,
out in the San Joaquin Valley.
Jacob, we went, we did the road trips together. We did Boston, New York, Chicago. We had other trips planned. Jacob went to Japan. I was supposed to go on that trip. But that was the year my mom passed. So
Right.
timing wasn't right. Mike, we've been to an A's game a couple years ago. We got a suite. We sat up in the suite through work. So even if you're not like a hardcore A's fan, you have memories of this team, and it's important. Like it's for me, like when I talk about this, it's like the chicken or the egg. Like, do the A's give culture to Oakland, or did Oakland give culture to the A's? Because the A's in Oakland, I feel like, are synonymous. It's the last team in Oakland professional sports. It's also like the greatest years of the franchise that those early 70s teams. Where if they were intact, what they could have done. It just means a lot to the city, and the community around it. I woke up this morning, I said, man, just like everybody else, I'm holding on to this prayer of a no
Right.
vote today,
Yeah.
and we still don't have an answer. So if you're joining us right now, there's still no vote. They haven't voted yet, and it's at the time of this recording, it's 5:47 p.m. and they haven't voted. So I don't think I don't know if we're gonna get a vote tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if it does happen. Maybe it's one of those things where they stop the clocks at 11:59, and then like get the last little 10 minutes of work done. And there's on the official record, there's like 4 different votes of different things, all at 11:59 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah, just reincorporating that comment. Yeah, Oakland definitely, the Oakland culture, definitely contributed to the play of this team. I am excited for the 13th though. I am really excited. I'm just so proud of all these A's fans coming together, doing the t-shirt fundraiser.
Yeah, I'm actually do you remember in 2020 there was the cardboard cutouts and they were like strapped to the seats or whatever? Me and my dad actually bought one for my grandpa for his birthday.
Oh my God.
So we actually do have one. I'm gonna try to bring grandpa to one last baseball game.
Oh man, you got to do it.
So I just gotta get a hold of it and then we'll make it happen.
So cool.
One last A's game with my grandpa.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this a couple times. We said we hope that when we go to this June 13th game, it's going to be like a playoff atmosphere. And what's really cool, I just found this out today about a half an hour ago, is the 68s are also going to be giving away like signs, like signs that say like sell the team, but then on the backside, it's coordinated cheers. So every top inning, there's coordinated cheers. So it's going to be a very coordinated cheering throughout the game, through all 9 innings. So don't get hammered by the second or third inning. We got to go 9 innings, guys. 9 innings. Maybe extras. Can you imagine if it goes extras? That would be the best thing in the world, bro.
All the extra all the extra cheers and stuff. That'll be fun. So that'll be
Oh
fun.
yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, Jacob, there's a t-shirt fund. If you go on Twitter, I think I've shared it a couple times. If you go online on Twitter, the Oakland
Reddit.
68s.
Yeah.
are
Reddit will also have it, man. Yeah.
Reddit. There's a fundraiser where I think you donate
It's like $5 a shirt.
$5 a
basically.
shirt. They'll get you a sell shirt. So people are like donating money. The more shirts, the more they can give away. So Oaklandish is fabricating the shirt, manufacturing the shirt, doing everything for the shirt at cost. So Oaklandish is offering that service, and this was done, from what I understand, Hot Dog How and the 68s and the folks that run that over there. There is a person specifically who really pioneered it. Unfortunately, I'm slipping his name right now, but yeah, it's the fans are organizing this, and I think they're up to like $27,000 in fundraisers and growing. So
Yeah.
and I think you can buy a shirt on their website as well and have it sent to you.
I'll tell you what, I definitely trust the fans with money more than I trust John Fisher.
Yeah, we got a
fish face. Yeah. Good
So
old fish face, man.
We got a all right, we did the emotional stuff. We did a little bit of memory lane stuff. We caught up on the vote. I guess let's catch up on the week of what was the tomfoolery of Fisher and Cavill.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in, man. So where do you want to start with this? I mean,
I guess in a chronological order.
Okay.
Since the last time you and I spoke, let's try that, and then let's just catch up to here, because I know there's some of the folks in the chat I saw and spoke to over the weekend, and they have questions. So let's just lay it out.
All right, let's do it. You got notes on this? Because I don't have my notes handy on that.
Well, okay.
Yeah, you go and drive on this one.
Okay, so today is the vote for this SB
509. Yeah,
509. Today's the vote. There's still no vote, right? So last week there was a lot of movement on to get the vote on the floor. But then there's some news coming out about the numbers of tourism, what it's actually going to do, the guaranteed jobs. So the A's threw out some numbers out there, and folks have started to go through the numbers, and economists are saying it's just like actually a really bad deal. There's a big article that came out this morning about public dollars going to stadiums is not a good deal. But one of the bigger things was changing the start time of the game and putting the A's Las Vegas at like a 5:00 start, which would make it almost impossible to draw in any local support. It would just make the strip is so busy, and it would just make it so difficult to get to the stadium and out of the stadium. And then also it's just bad for your local fan. So changing start times, things of that nature, it's already like not off to a good start if the A's are in Vegas. That would need approval by the league, but he's interested in that route.
Yeah. Also 4 p.m. start time in Las Vegas. In July,
yeah, 4
August,
p.m. Yeah,
4 p.m. That sounds a little steamy, a little hot, MLB Players Association grievancy is what that kind of sounds like. I know that none of these players want to be, out in 110 degrees, every day. And 4 p.m. that's basically the hottest the temperature gets every day. 4 p.m., 5 p.m. So, and then you'd be like taking your batting practice at like 2 p.m. So just really, really bad timing wise. It doesn't make any sense to start at 4 p.m.
No, I mean,
it if you're talking for once a month at 4 p.m. on a Saturday, sure. Okay.
Right.
Whatever. But Those first couple of years, if they have to play in Vegas at Las Vegas Ballpark, where the AAA team currently plays, if that's the location, that's going to be miserable. If it's not Vegas and they end up playing in Sacramento for a couple of years, again, Sacramento's not exactly on an iceberg. It gets pretty hot out there too.
And then
like just these places that they're talking about. If they're not playing in Oakland, it does not make sense to mess with the start time. You definitely want night games, and
There's
screw
also
the casino owners, man.
right. There's also some talk. Well, if the A's do go to Vegas, that obviously the city of Oakland's not going to extend the lease because they would want to work with a developer that's going to take over the current site. And Howard Terminal has all the green lights in the world. Like,
Yeah.
all that work is done. Somebody's going to come in and swoop. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's all ready to go. And the current footprint is ready to go. That already has an environmental impact report. It already has a large footprint. So all the legalities of the current site is pretty much ready to go. So the A's or the city of Oakland isn't going to renegotiate a lease with the A's. So then the A's started leaking that they'll play somewhere else. For them to play somewhere else, it's been floated that Sacramento has offered them to come to Sacramento and play. And then there was an article that came out about how costly it would be for the A's to play in Sacramento or even a AAA stadium. Like basically no AAA stadium would be profitable. Like it would. So you would have another year to 2 years of basically a
almost
AAA
3 years.
team.
3 years at this point, because 25, 26, and 27, they're talking about opening this new stadium in Las Vegas in 2028.
What I was going to say is, you think John Fisher is going to field a competitive baseball team when they're in Sacramento or Las Vegas at a AAA stadium? You think he's going to go and sign players or re-sign players and build this team to be a contender while they're essentially a road team? No.
Hell no.
He's not going to do that. So you're basically delivering the A's to Vegas, like with barely a pulse.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to fund the team in that time. And when you're only getting a AAA stadium of 5,000 to 10,000 people.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing that actually Brody Brazil brought this up. They're talking about a 30,000 seat stadium in Las Vegas, which of course is about 5,000 seats smaller than the current smallest stadium in Major League Baseball. Also, for the math to work out, they would basically have to sell 28,000 and change of those seats every night to make up to be able to make the numbers work. And that's just not how baseball works. There's going to be some games where you draw about 9,000, even on good teams.
Right.
Seattle last year, there were games when they had 9,000, 10,000, 11,000. Like they went 2 weeks straight at the beginning of the year, and actually kind of at the end of the year too, when they were like in the hunt for it. There was a couple of games where it was a bad night for attendance, or it was a day game and you just can't draw as many people. And so the advantage of having a 45,000 seat stadium is you can make up for those days where you only draw 9. If you only have 30,000 cap,
that's it.
And you have one game where you only sell 9,000, you now have to sell out like 15 games, all 30,000 seats, just to make up for that one 9,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's just no room for error. And that's just not how it works. The other way is to bring in like several other events, and like you'd probably they're saying 95 events or something. It's going to be more like 130 events at least to make up for that. And it just doesn't make sense at 30,000. I think 40,000 makes a little bit more sense because it's more in between the 65,000 or whatever it is at Allegiant versus the 18,000 for the hockey arena. 40 is kind of more in the middle of those two. That makes more sense to me. The 30, it's just barely a little bit more than what they have at the hockey arena. That doesn't make sense. Like like Taylor Swift is going to sell out Allegiant Stadium. That's not a
Right.
problem. But let's
Right.
say
If you're a top tier performer,
Mhm.
you're going to Allegiant.
That's right.
If you're anything below that, you're probably doing the T-Mobile Center.
Yeah, and unless there's, you know, like if Aerosmith or whatever, some like old 70s
Right.
band does a tour, I think the 40,000 seat might be perfect in that range. You know, somebody
Right.
going on their final tour, Rolling Stones final farewell for the 20th time, or whatever, you know. That I think that would be, you know, perfect for something like that. But I don't, you know, I don't see how 30,000 makes a dent. You know, they're talking WWE was one of the logos. Like they put like not WrestleMania, but one of the smaller pay-per-views there. What's the point? What's the point? Like like WWE can sell out Allegiant.
Allegiant.
You know?
They could do WrestleMania there.
Yeah, do WrestleMania at Allegiant, like even like SummerSlam or something like that. That's big enough of an event where I think that they could probably do Allegiant there. Like if you're talking 30,000, but if you think you can get 45,000 tickets sold for it, just go to fucking Allegiant instead. But if you build a 40,000 seat arena or stadium, that makes more sense to me. And just everything about this, the way they're doing it, it's like they're begging for a no vote, you know, almost.
The
I
other
swear.
the other thing too that came about is this I'll say the corruption of MLB and the shadiness of MLB. And I'll get to a broader point in a second, but MLB coming out and saying they'll waive the relocation fee if we get, you know, all this money for free from the government. So it's a this for that. Literally, MLB is saying we're going to waive all these fees only if we get government funding.
Right.
And this isn't government. So the A's, the city of Oakland has government funding, but it's not at risk of the general fund. So that means
That's right. Oakland did it through grants. Like they
Correct.
got
Through
they got
state and federal
375 million in grants when they were initially asked to secure 352. Of course,
that
inflation
money-
happened.
that
There's still
money is
100 million.
secured. Like
Yeah,
that
that
infrastructure
Yeah.
is still going to happen.
That money's there. It's not going anywhere. That like Oakland can fix Jack London Square streets around the area with that money.
So all
whether
those
the
grants
A's
that
stay
they
or
applied
not.
for to do, you know, to clean up the shoreline for water erosion, to fix the train tracks, to fix the roads over there, that's going to happen. That's all part of the grant. And it was a long and tedious process, but the city of Oakland did that process to not risk the general fund. And reincorporating to what you were talking about earlier, Vince, about the stadium, I think Daryl sent me a article, and it was, you know, Mount Davis, that impacted the general fund.
Exactly.
So whenever the city of Oakland or residents of Oakland remember Mount Davis and that situation, that was a terrible deal for Oakland and the county. But they did that to lure an NFL team back. It just did not work out in the capacity that the city and the Raiders hoped for. It was a terrible deal. And there were some years that the A's averaged like 26,000, you know, 25,000, I want to say on average. If you didn't have Mount Davis, that's like that's like a top 10 team as far as attendance versus capacity.
Oh, I got some breaking news here. I think we got Tyler finally made it back. Tyler, are you here, bud? How's it going? He's connecting to audio. Yeah, look at him go.
What's up, guys?
Hey, welcome. We're just ranting about Oakland, you know.
I've been hitting the chat, but you guys made a terrible job of commenting on in the chat with me in there. So
I'm
it's
sorry
cool.
about that.
Yeah,
we figured you had it under control, so we were able to just rant about it ourselves.
I only had like 10 jobs.
I also want to mention that Tim, if you want some water, get some water, bud, because you're coughing up my stream over here.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I saw that.
What's going on, guys? So we're talking about how shitty how the A's can't fill a whole entire stadium here, right? Because it's totally not possible with 13 events and apparently they're gonna play more than one extra game a season at this stadium, which
Yeah,
makes sense. I guess one wild card game, right?
Or no, one preseason game.
That's terrible. They're not gonna fill this up.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not going to fill it up. I want to finish this point before I forget. I talked about the attendance on the old stadium and how where that would have ranked a lot higher as far as average to capacity. The other thing was MLB forcing Nevada, basically putting a gun to their head, saying we're going to waive the relocation fee if you give us all this free government money. But this is what MLB wants. This is the thing that really pisses me off. It's not just John Fisher, it's the entire league, because now we're hearing about baseball is contacting the Brewers about improving their stadium, and now the Brewers are asking for money from the state of Milwaukee they want Milwaukee to fund it.
Yeah.
So look what's going on in Miami. Miami helped fund that stadium, and that team is crap. It's completely misran.
And they don't draw shit there either.
They don't draw nothing. Pittsburgh, another terrible owner. Baltimore.
They're winning this year, so I mean, that's fine or whatever. But they still,
they built that stadium, which is a beautiful stadium with the bridges in the background and a gorgeous, beautiful stadium, and they have never been all in. The owner said, "Oh, I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna," and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So this is a problem in baseball, and I think the larger argument is, cities shouldn't have to cough up billions of dollars to pay for other people's stuff. I can understand what Oakland is doing with getting the grants for infrastructure and things like that, things that are around the stadium, streets, lights, water, all of that,
pedestrian walkways,
but you know what?
Like that, yeah.
You don't hear about some new guy on the block saying, I want to build a casino, and then the government giving them a handout for a casino. You don't hear about any type of I'm a McDonald's franchisee. Build my McDonald's. Like, no other business does this. It's dumb. It's a dumb business practice for cities to fund this. And it's not just the A's. It needs to stop all over.
Yeah. And I mean, there's every now and then you'll get one good story about this, like how Minnesota Vikings were able to pay off their loan 23 years early, and that saved the taxpayers, almost 200 million or whatever the hell the number was. And yeah, that's cool, but they still shouldn't have had to fork over that money in the first place, because as you said, this is a billionaire's toy. This is, they should be able to pay for this themselves. Yeah, it's just frustrating to see that. So even when there's good news, they shout about it like it's the great thing. But then if you just dive into the story, like, one paragraph further, they still held them for ransom. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings, where the hell are they going to go?
To Jacob's point, though, Miami is still dealing with that stadium situation, and how terrible it was for all the residents of Miami. So,
and Oakland's still dealing with Mount Davis.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're still dealing with that bullshit.
What are you gonna do? I want to point out the legislative bill. Apparently, there's
still
a lot of other. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of other things going on in Vegas other than just the A's, which
right.
Crazy, right? That you put in a bill at the 12th hour and that it's not the first thing on the agenda. Stupid John Fisher. On top of that, though, I think it's going to go to a special session.
I think so too. At this point,
and I hope it does. I hope it does because it's going to cost the city of Vegas taxpayer money to hold these special sessions. Get it out there, and let's just piss off Vegas even more. But nothing like says, "Hey, I want to build a stadium and use your money," by already charging them for something they don't even have yet.
Right. Yeah. I guess if we assume that it does pass, whether it's today or in a special session, the last two Hail Marys are basically if the owners decide to not waive the relocation fee, does that change the calculus for John Fisher about returning to the table? And so that's my first question. I got another one after that. But I'm just wondering, what do you guys think? Does that change his mind at all if he does have to pay a $300 million reload fee?
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
He can't pay an 80 million gap in Oakland. What makes you think he's gonna pay a $300 million relocation fee?
That's a great point. My last point is, if it does get approved and the relocation fee is waived, is that the time that he sells? Because now you have to a new owner of any kind and says, hey, you can choose. I have it done in Vegas. I have it done in Oakland. I don't want to deal with this. I can't afford to deal with this.
Yeah,
that's my last bit of hopium. Those are the only two situations left for the A's to stay in Oakland at this point, I think.
I've been mulling that and wondering, is he going to sell if he gets the approval, or is he going to sell if there's shovel in the ground? And I don't know. I mean, I think it's easy to say he has two deals. I could sell it to the highest bidder, and they have two options to work with, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about.
But then I also wonder, like, will he make more money if there's actual shovels in the ground because people know that this stadium's actually getting built?
Well, I think part of that it would be if he sells before shovels go in the ground, it's still two options.
Yeah.
As soon as there's shovels in the ground, they're definitely going to a location.
Many options too, because we mentioned earlier, Howard Terminal now has clear landing, right? So if you're a new owner, do you want to scale down the Howard Terminal build, or is there an owner that would want that whole build out like the A's and Fisher were trying to do, and then the city and the new owner work out a deal there? Joe Lacob, who we've been talking about as our Hopi,
our resident dream, yeah,
because he came out and said the current site would be ideal. So would that sale also include the half of the current site?
I would imagine it would.
So I would think so too.
Piggyback on that, how much you think it would take, knowing that it's in the news and it's the hot take that Lacob would buy the A's, because you know that Fisher's going to hike it up even higher than if it went to somebody else.
Well,
what do you think it would take?
I think right now, the reason I personally subscribe to the theory that he wants a stadium deal, as Vince alluded to, is I got deals in place in Vegas. You can build there. You can build in Oakland if you want to go back. But the value of the franchise is this, because there's a stadium on the way. If I keep the team, I'm building it in Vegas.
Right. So the team right now is valued at like just a shade over $2 billion.
Is that really the value of the team right now?
I thought I read it was more like 1.5.
Yeah,
I thought it was like one. Okay, 1.78 is what I saw, but that was as of last.
See, that's what I would think that he would sell the team for. I thought the team was more like 1.2, 1.3. He would ask for 1.5 and then actually sell at 1.7.
I saw it as 1.7, but I think it was last year that they valued that. So I don't know what the current value is, but I would imagine.
Yeah, but it ain't going down. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, these sports franchises don't go down in value.
Yeah. So what would he's probably selling it to Joe $3 billion.
Oh, see, okay. So, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, as of April 11th, Forbes reports the A's are worth $1.18 billion. Lower than every team but the Marlins, and that's as of April 11th.
$3 billion?
No, 1.18.
No, I'm saying to sell $3 billion to Lacob. To
Lacob, it's going to be 1.7 at least.
Yeah,
like he wants an
extra.
You don't think
he's going to try and hike it up more to try and get more?
Oh, he'll try to get as much as he possibly can. I think I would imagine if the value is 1.18, let's call it 1.2. I would imagine Lacob's offer is probably 1.5. And that's not enough. It's gonna take a lot more. I think
it's gonna take
could be
approaching anybody that wanted to buy the A's is gonna the only way I think Fisher sells is if somebody comes in at 1.7, overpays.
Yeah, way overpaid.
Even without a stadium. Because in John Fisher's eyes, what I believe, if he's able to get a stadium, let's hypothetically he takes it to Vegas. I don't think he's going to sell right away. Actually, I think he's going to get in and try to get Billy Bean and Dave Force to put together another Moneyball team draft, put it back together, get back to a 97 win team. And if the moment he gets to a winning team and a new stadium is already built and all the endless possibilities, oh, you got a good youth system now. In his eyes, that franchise is now worth $2.5 billion.
Yeah,
because the work is done.
Mm-hmm.
You don't
a
need
new
to do
stadium and a winning team. That's he can probably get 2.5. Probably.
If the team gets sold, does Billy Bean lose his ownership? Right?
Depends.
That depends. Yeah,
it depends on the new owner. If he wants to keep him in the ownership group for,
he would basically have to buy him out, right?
Yeah, I mean, Billy would be part of the buyout group or whatever. Like he would get cashed out, or he could stay on. Obviously, that's Joe Lacob is not going to be.
Billy Bean buys
100%
of the A's.
Here we go. You ready? The hot take of the century. Joe Lacob buys the A's. Bob Myers is the general manager.
Yeah,
that's what Bob Myers stepped away from. He knew it's coming, man. You're on.
Who knew he was such a good baseball savant too?
He's taking a couple years off now, so that way he can hop into baseball. That's right.
What's up, Daryl?
Hey, Daryl. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. Yeah,
we're on. We got our tinfoil hats on. Vince,
yeah.
you needed a costume change into your tinfoil hat.
Yeah, I forgot to make the tinfoil hat. I threw
the
old one
freaking
away.
Sucks though.
There was some.
This is the most fun we've had on this freaking podcast in weeks. Just talking about Fantasyland of how the A's can be sold to somebody competent.
Something that's 1% likely. Like this is pure weapons grade opium that we are smoking right now, guys. Like this is just me entertaining though. Like
I am interested. Daryl says get rid of Bean. I am interested in that because just a few years ago, people were still like, oh no, Billy Bean's a great GM. He did a lot of things. And now I see the tides turning a little bit where people are more like lukewarm to cold water and Billy Bean.
All right. Is there anything else on the A's we need to talk about? I think we should turn to some other sports, man. Still no vote as of right now. We're going to keep an eye on it.
I'll be honest, you guys. I don't even know what the dock looks like. I'm just going to keep rolling with the train and we go.
There you go. Chugga.
Vince is the conductor. So
yeah, here we go. Toot, baby. Let's go. So the NBA finals, we are 2 games in.
Yeah,
we have a split series. Miami got the win in game 2, 111-108. Denver won comfortably in game 1. It kind of surprised me that Miami took game 2. I was fully expecting Denver to win in 5, and mathematically that could still happen, but Miami winning in Denver certainly changes that a little bit for me.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I watched to about halftime yesterday. I think Miami was down 11 or 12 points. I woke up this morning and I was like, what? They won? I don't understand. So at lunchtime today, I decided to watch the old YouTube recap. And then I kind of watched the recording that I had to a little bit of time so I could see other than just the highlights. Man, I mean, Jokic did what he had to do. He came in, he showed up. Do I think he got a little tentative towards the end? Yeah, I think he was trying to get his guys more involved. I think a lot of the Porter and Gordon, I think they were started getting a little, worried about their shot. So they started missing a lot more. So then the Joker took it upon himself to try and get him more open shots. They weren't falling. So I think Joker's, triple threat mentality of being a triple double threat every single game sometimes could be a detriment when it comes to crucial games like this. I think at that moment it was stop being the team player and be the player. And I think if that happens again in game 3, I don't think Joker is passing that ball anymore. I think he's trying to get fouled, and I think he's trying to get to the rim, and I think he's trying to score and will this team to a win, like an MVP should.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have won that game. It wasn't like they got their, it took some big shots by the Miami Heat.
Yeah, of course.
They made some big time 3-pointers in the fourth.
Yeah, man.
So they showed up.
Yeah.
Like they're a completely different team in the playoffs. I think we all really like the Miami Heat. We all really like Jimmy Butler's game and what he does for his teams. Dude's a legit. He's badass.
It's the only guy I know who took second stringers and beat the shit out of the first stringers.
Yeah,
that was in Chicago, right?
No, that was in Minnesota.
It was in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Yeah. That's right. Yeah,
yeah, the other Midwest team. Yeah.
Who did he took all the?
He took all the second stringers and beat the shit out of all the first stringers.
But
the players was Cat.
Yeah,
D'Angelo.
Yeah, them guys. Yeah.
I don't know. D'Angelo wasn't there.
Wiggins.
It was Cat. It was Wiggins.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It was before.
Still
all those
hilarious.
Trades. Yeah.
But the thing is,
Baller.
Wiggins is a champion because he's got that championship.
He's a champion
DNA.
now.
Got
Yeah.
that DNA, guys.
That's right.
My favorite saying.
Well, neither of these teams. Miami has the championship DNA, but that was
But not Jimmy
LeBron,
Butler.
and that was 2013.
Spoelstra's got championship DNA.
Spoelstra does. Yeah.
And Udonis Haslam.
Yeah.
If Miami wins, man, it's probably going to come down to the coaching and obviously Jimmy Butler.
Right.
But Spoelstra is just amazing.
Yeah.
He gets every team to perform.
The Nuggets, like the players outside of Jokic, just like I don't know, they just weren't ready for the second half, I guess, last game. So I don't know what happened there. Did they start feeling a little too comfortable? Maybe start getting a little.
Miami reminds me a lot of the Warriors in some some sense. Obviously the Warriors don't have a Jimmy Butler. They don't have a dominant ball guy who will drive to the rim like that, right? Maybe we did when we had Kevin Durant, right? Maybe that's more probably of a better analogy. But they're very 3-point heavy. So and they didn't even have Tyler Hero last night. So you get Tyler Hero, you get Duncan Robinson, you get Strus just shooting threes, Gabe Vincent shooting threes.
Yeah, when they start knocking them down, those guys were
Exactly.
missing all game one.
If Miami can knock down threes in a consistency during a game, they're a hard team to beat. And with Jimmy Butler being the orchestrator of the whole offense, it could be a tough team. The problem is that as of late until last night, they weren't knocking down shots. They've struggled to get past Boston because they weren't knocking down shots. So if Miami can keep this up, it might go 6, it might go 7. You never know. Certainly it has to go 5 now.
Boston, based on rankings, should have won that series. They had their chances too.
Oh,
yeah, I don't
absolutely.
know what happened at home in Boston. That was a shit show of a game.
The shittest of shows.
It's okay. Fuck Boston.
Yeah. I like Boston.
Okay. So yeah, I mean,
Cheers.
obviously this is a 1-1 series. Game 3 is going to be Wednesday. Game 4 is Friday. Game 5 is next Monday. And I mean, we'll see what happens over games 3 and 4. Game 5 could be maybe clinching, or maybe we're talking about, this series is 2-2 and it's a race to 4 at that point with only, 2 games apiece. It's going to be tough, man.
Daryl, I get what you're saying by saying that he would be fouled by previous standards, but we all know that playoffs and then the finals, they're 2 different levels. The amount of fouling that you can get away with in each round, I think, increases per round.
Yeah.
But not to mention that, referee calling throughout the whole season has been something of question, but especially with flopping, that seems to be the hot topic back into should we call this? Should we make this a foul? What should
it needs
we do
to be
with
the
this, right?
same. The game needs to be called the same, whether it's a regular season, morning game or the NBA finals. And I think that's what's frustrating for players and fans is like, we get these slow motions, but then these dumbass commentators say things like, oh, great finals. The refs are going to let the guys play. Well, you should let them play every game then.
Yes,
Just
I agree
call
with
it the
that.
same. Just call it the same. Why does the
Yeah.
game need to change when we get to the playoffs? Call it the same.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Um,
Daryl's right. There's all kinds of, as you get into the playoffs, there's, oh, we're just going to let that go. It's a completely different game now.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it should be that
dumb.
way. Just give me back the old days of the '80s where we can have dudes fist fight each other. That's what I want. Bring that back.
I think it's generally frowned upon now at this point. If you want fist fighting, you got to turn to hockey.
That's
And
true.
oh, look at that transition. Stanley Cup
Smooth.
date. Let's go.
Smooth like ice.
Like butter. Okay, so Vegas won 5-2
Shout out
in
BTS.
game 1. And then yeah.
Okay.
Glad somebody got that one. So they're actually playing game 2 right now as we speak. It is in the second period. Vegas Golden Knights are up 3-0 on the Panthers. So it is not looking good for Florida, man. This is
I said last week, Vegas is probably going to win this bad boy. As much as I hate Vegas,
they're
they're a complete team.
It certainly is looking that way at the moment. You win game 1 by 3 goals. You're up 3 right now, halfway through the game in game 2. Obviously, games 3 and 4 are going to be played in Florida. So if there is going to be a comeback, it has to happen there, because right now it's looking dead on arrival at this point. Game 3 is on Thursday. Game 4 is on Saturday, and the way it looks, we might have a Stanley Cup champion to announce by the next recording, guys. I don't know, man. I don't have much confidence that Florida can get the job done at this point. It's a fun, cute little story, them making it to the Stanley Cup Finals, but Vegas just looks they're just overmatching Florida at this point. So
It's like Sharks versus the Penguins.
yeah, the Sharks were very fortunate to get 2 wins in that series. The Penguins were very much the better team in 2016. They were faster.
Yeah, that is the most important thing. When
They were so much faster.
I was like, wow, this team is like, there's like a gear, and they're 4 years higher than the Sharks right now.
Right. Martin Jones absolutely stood on his head in game 2, and Donskoy was able to make magic happen in the overtime. But that's 7 years ago. So
that's a term that
Yeah.
we didn't bring up when we were quizzing Sam. Sam, what does it mean when a goalie is on top of his head?
standing on his head. What does that mean?
Standing on his head, sorry.
He got like the player broke his ankles,
Ooh.
like that terminology.
It means nothing like that.
No.
Not even close.
All right.
It means that he was playing out of his mind good. Like just he was like the other team had surefire open goal, and he comes out of nowhere and saves it with the glove hand. Like just like doing absolutely everything in his power to will the team to success. Like that is goalie standing on his head. That's like
Did you see the picture?
we're talking no hitter. Like that'd be a
Yeah,
pitcher throwing
okay.
a no hitter almost. Like
Did
I
you
seen
see
a
the
guy
picture
throw a
of the last
no-hitter
game?
while standing on his head?
No.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that guy was on he was on
LSD.
The greenies. He was on the greenies. Did you see the picture? I'm drawing a blank on the Vegas Knights goalie right now, but
Aiden Hill.
literally, yeah, okay. So he's like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 feet away from the goal, and just gets this magical stick out to like stop the goal. It's the most impressive picture I think I've seen as far as a goalie like making.
It was his golden sword.
It was yeah, legit.
More or less. Part of me is a little bit pissed off because Aiden Hill did not play this well for the Sharks.
Nope.
But also he has a much better defense playing in front of him. So that way he's called upon less often to make big plays. And when you're when you're playing more confidently, goalies, man, they flip on a dime, man. Like for whatever reason, there was times when Evgeny Nabokov, the all-time greatest Sharks goalie, he was like second string to Vesa Toskala for a while, and Mika Kiprasov. Like those guys, for whatever reason, goalies like sometimes they just get in their head, and some guys just like they catch fire. And right now, Aiden Hill is catching fire, and it pisses me off.
After Nabby, I mean, the Sharks haven't done really well at drafting a goalie.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they ended up taking Antti Niemi from Chicago after he won the cup in 2010.
He was serviceable.
No, he did pretty well for the Sharks over those like 4-ish years. But obviously couldn't couldn't get to the final round. It's just kind of funny how like goalies in general, man, like it's more of a head game with them than maybe any other position.
Yeah.
In definitely in hockey, maybe in professional sports outside of golf,
Yeah, I mean, goalies in any sport that require one, whether you're talking soccer or hockey. I think
Yeah.
it's they're the most mental people on the team. Like, they're the guys that are like, they're like the drummer of the band. Like, they're
Mhm.
cool, but they're also the most mental ones.
Speaking of goalies in soccer, we got some soccer news to talk about. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is going to retire at 41 years old. He was a hell of a goal scorer. Played in several teams. He's also if you watch Ted Lasso, he's kind of the inspiration of Zava in season 3.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a head case, but genuinely fantastic scorer. And he did
He's
it
gonna
for way
start
longer.
his own avocado farm.
Avocado farm, yeah. There was definitely those comments on the Men in Blazers
big ass
post.
avocado he sent them. It's
Mhm.
like the biggest avocado ever.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're ever curious, just to get an idea of Zlatan, just look up Zlatan LA Galaxy ad, and he basically took out a massive 1-page ad that said "You're welcome," and
I remember that.
The dude's got swagger, and it's not the last we'll hear of him. Like, I'm sure he'll be involved in football going forward, but he's done playing and he's had a hell of a career. So congrats and best of luck to you, crazy psychopath. A lot of fun to watch though. Speaking of other goats, Lionel Messi, he got booed twice on his way out the door at Paris, man. Like they booed him in introductions, and then he missed on a shot in like the 51st minute or something like that, and he got booed again.
Yeah, he's been getting it like the last month and a half. What's going on?
He's on his way out already, and I guess the fans at PSG are just not happy with him because he hasn't performed up to their expectations. But he's old,
There was
he's
there was a
good. He's
video
still
of
really
I
good.
think there was like a graduation of something in Europe, and they were booing Messi. Messi wasn't even in the stands.
I know.
He's
I
been
don't know,
getting
man.
Is he going to play next year?
Oh, he's playing.
He's playing.
He might end up playing with Cristiano Ronaldo.
He's going to Wrexham, guys.
Ronaldo announced that he's going to stay in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So
which is
maybe
ridiculous.
Maybe Messi ends up in the Saudi Arabian league or something. I don't know.
Why would you play in that league?
Money,
dude. Greed.
I mean, Messi is.
To be fair, you can make a shit ton of money with
ambassador.
PSG.
I know, but
Yeah, but I mean,
money's money.
they don't have oil money, man.
Yeah.
That is a whole other thing. Like, they'll give you your regular paycheck, but then they can subsidize your life in other ways as well. That even like the fanciest clubs like PSG or Man United or any of the other ones you can possibly think of, like Bayern Munich, just any of them, they'll pay you. But man, that Saudi oil money, that is another beast entirely. And we've talked about that with the Live Golf Tour and other stuff too.
Yeah, it's like a completely unregulated, uncapped, do whatever the hell
exactly.
you want. Oh,
yeah.
We're gonna pay you this on the books, but behind the books.
Yeah.
Off book,
That's true. The Saudi Arabian team, when they beat Mexico, they all got brand new cars.
Yeah, exactly. There's shit like that, like nobody in like they're not handing out Audis at Bayern Munich.
Mark Kotze just got ejected, and so did Noda.
Oh,
so we have no first baseman. We have no head coach.
Cool, awesome.
Bring in Derek Barton.
Hey, did you guys hear? Did you guys
Ever.
hear Josh Reddick audio about what's going on in Oakland?
No, what did he say?
Oh my God, he called out ownership. He was like, he called out ownership, and he goes, you can point at attendance and you can say this and say that. I'm summarizing, and he goes, yeah, it's tough. He goes, but the diehards are great when the fans do come, it's great. And he goes, but when you have ownership that is not invested, like, fans aren't going to be interested. And he put the blame on ownership,
Nice.
square on ownership. And it's
Good.
the audio's been going around, so it was pretty good.
I'm glad.
Since we're talking about old time A's here, I don't know if it's tonight or this weekend, but making his debut pitching for the Savannah Bananas.
Oh no, he
Barry
just did it. He
Zito.
did it. He did it this past weekend. Barry Zito,
Nice.
our boy. He made his debut for the Savannah Bananas. Man, he had a comebacker hit right at him, but he let it go, and the shortstop took care of it. For a double play. It was a fun little highlight I saw on the Clock app, TikTok.
But yeah, so getting back to the pond, the other side of the pond here. I don't know where Messi's gonna go. I don't guess he could probably go for all the money in the world to go play over there. How long? And do you think he will ever go to MLS? How long do you think it would take?
If he does go to MLS, it'll be Miami, because I think he might have like a
part ownership?
he has an offer for ownership or something. I don't know. He's got something with Miami possibly in the works. So if he does come to MLS, it'll be for Miami, and we'll see. Maybe it's like a Jordan playing with the Wizards situation. I don't know. We'll see.
Tyler, what
Huh?
rhymes with tummy?
Miami.
He's going to Miami.
Oh, jeez. I was wondering where you guys are going with that. Okay. So in other soccer news, BJ Callahan was named interim manager for U.S. men's national team ahead of the Nations League finals and the Gold Cup happening this summer.
I'm so nice, Vince. I'm so nice. I was going to mention that last week, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to save this nugget for Vince, because I think me and Vince need to discuss this.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're
I mean,
nice
we'll see
and
what happens.
Obviously humble.
A lot of, I mean, like basically, it's the same thing you see about any hire when it's not a big name. Oh, he works hard. He's always in the tape room. He's always studying, and that's the only information that we have on BJ Callahan at this point. Is
I know
we know that we know that he, according to reports, he's the first guy in, last guy out when they're doing game sessions, studying tape and stuff like that. So. If that's true, and he's a hard worker, and he can, bring something a little bit more offensively potent to the men's national team, they can. I don't see why they can't, defend their Gold Cup this summer. We'll see what happens.
I'm waiting
there.
I'm waiting to see the exhibition tournaments. The exhibition tournaments we're going to have this summer. But honestly, he could be Nate the Great, or he could be Nate the Waste. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you anything.
I wish I knew more about this guy to give more context, but that's just we're just
nobody
kind of
had him on their big board. We went through the names.
He's like I said, he still has the interim tag. He's not the official replacement yet. Maybe this is his tryout, to see how the team reacts this summer to whatever magic he can do. And if they perform well this summer, maybe he gets the permanent job. And we're laughing about this, 2 months from now. But we'll see. We have to see. The team has to play well, and it's a big question mark until then.
So what's the offense that they ran in Ted Lasso this year?
That's total football. Total football.
If he runs total football, I'm totally in. I'm gonna watch it.
Totally in. If for nothing else than the Ted Lasso reference, we need we could have Balogun play in the Jamie Tart role. That'll be fun.
I am so excited for that. I know that he was, there's no room on the other two squads that he was trying to get on with Nigeria and England, but this kid stays healthy. I'm gonna love all of this here. Is there an inside joke with you and Daryl here, Vince?
What?
He's just saying, would he have a girlfriend?
Would Messi have a girlfriend in Miami?
Right, or possibly a girlfriend. He probably has a few.
Yeah,
he's got a few of them. They work. They work for Bang Bros.
He's definitely worked. I mean, he has fuck you money. Pretty much. Definitely, he's made his bag for sure. So we'll see what happens there.
I don't think Messi's like Ronaldo, where he's stuck to the same girl forever. Yeah. I'll give Ronaldo that. Yep. I'll give him that.
Hey, big news for fans of women's soccer in the Bay Area. The NWSL is coming back to the Bay Area. We have the Bay FC. They'll begin playing next season. And there's a ownership group with former U.S. women's national team veterans Brandy Chastain, Leslie Osborne, Danielle Slayton, and Ali Wagner. That's a hell of a group. I'm
That's a big
enjoying
group.
that. They got some like big capital investment firm backing them as well. So you got players that know how to play the game and in the ownership group making decisions. So that'll be good. I'm
You know where they're
excited. They
playing?
still haven't announced where they're going to play yet.
Okay.
The Earthquakes have said that they're more than willing
Nope.
to no,
Wouldn't do
you've
it.
heard different.
No, I'm saying I wouldn't do it.
Oh, you wouldn't.
I
you
wouldn't give John
play in
Fisher
San Jose?
a dime.
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
you know that
no,
he's going to
no,
have to take some of the
obviously.
profits.
Yeah,
I,
no, I personally agree. They also had Kezar Stadium in San Francisco, as a
It's true.
possible
it's true.
site. Right now, the Oakland Roots are playing at Cal State East Bay. Yeah,
They're not playing at Laney?
No, they're playing at Cal State East Bay this year.
Oh, okay.
So
That's new.
So yeah, I mean, I noticed that maybe a few weeks ago. So I mean, there's another possible venue. There's plenty of football, soccer stadiums that can hold a few thousand people. Maybe they play at Spartan Stadium. I don't know where the Cyber Rays and Gold Pride FC played before. I mean, this is a different what's the name, NWSL, National Women's Soccer League. This is a different league than those teams. So this is the first time that this iteration of this league is coming to the Bay, but it's obviously the third time they've tried to put women's soccer in the Bay, but the leagues folding before kind of ended
Sure.
that. So if
Sam,
this league,
do you have the chat up, by the way, Sam?
Yeah, the YouTube.
Can you read the most recent comment? I just need to hear this from a third degree here, outside of Jacob, because this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
hold on.
so you want me to just read it out loud?
Yeah, go for it.
I was just
Jacob, this
enjoying
is
a
great.
beer. I was just enjoying a
Wait,
beer
what?
at the local tap room, and there was a former A's employee there commenting on the vote in Vegas. Long story short, John Fisher showed up in a Giants shirt the day Mania got traded. The amount of disrespect this man has for this team as a city writ large is disgusting. Jacob, you are 1,000,000% right. Yeah, this is
So did you guys see this on Twitter today? So all of this charlatan talk from John Fisher about all these jobs. So there's like the construction jobs it's going to bring. False, because the Tropicana is already going to be
Yep.
destroyed and built. You're
Mhm.
not creating anything. That's already announced.
maybe 100 jobs.
Yeah,
maybe
so
100.
That's false. The other thing was, now it's being reported that the A's coming to Vegas could deliver a monorail.
Oh my god.
A monorail.
A monorail is better than a gondola, but it's still
Dude.
like on that tier of
A's
leave it
fans
in
have been-
Disneyland.
A's
That's some
fans-
Disneyland stuff.
Wait, hold on.
A's
Does
fans
this
have
monorail
been using
does
the
this
Simpsons
monorail
monorail thing for months now.
does this monorail end at the stadium, and then everyone's got to walk through a really tightly packed tunnel to get into the stadium? Tell me if you've seen this before.
Oh, my
Oh.
god!
Oh God, what does
So
that
all
sound
those
like?
photos
It's so
coming out-
familiar.
All those photos of Fisher and
It's on the tip of my Bart. What is it?
Cavill coming out of legislation last week when they're trying to they show up like 2 days late to
Yep.
ask for money, to ask for $500 million. They came out of there. Cavill leading monorail.
Open
Monorail.
Stompers.
They just did the whole Simpsons.
If there
theme.
was a wall next to me, I'd slam my head against it.
Dude,
Yeah, I mean, at this
it's
point,
laughable.
I kind of want if what Vince is saying, that we're predicting with our tinfoil hats that John Fisher will sell if he's got 2 stadium deals
Giants.
in the works. I kind of want this deal to just be over with. Let's just have Vegas agree on it, and then tomorrow
Yeah.
we can wake up and he could sell the team.
Yeah, I mean, that would be best, I think. Obviously, if the deal in Vegas is accepted and then he sells the team, and then let the new owner decide if he's gonna break our hearts, and then John Fisher can pretend like, oh, I didn't do it. Whatever. People will, I'm sure some people will forget. I sure the fuck won't. But
Yeah.
I'm sure, I'm sure he's a guy that does not like attention brought on him at all. And this
Well,
has
he's doing a
brought
terrible
way-
job at it.
This has brought way too much heat on him. I think at this point he might be just looking for the best way for him to make the quietest escape possible. And that's where my hopium comes in. Load it up, baby. Let's go.
Well, sorry to take you off the tangent of
Okay.
women's
All right,
soccer.
So the NWSL, the Bay FC will be the 14th team in the league, and they'll start playing next season. So go Bay FC. Let's go.
Daryl says the
Bay,
monorail
bay,
goes
bay.
through Frontierland and ends in Tomorrowland. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Also, Women's World Cup begins next month on July 20th. So
You know
that'll be a
what's
lot of
crazy
fun.
that
We
they
can talk about
actually picked a location where you could play in the summertime like you're supposed to.
that. Mm-hmm.
Funny how that worked out.
Wild, yeah. Oh, it's so crazy. One more note on soccer. The Earthquakes actually had 2 games this past week. They get the win in Seattle 1-0, and then they draw 0-0 against Colorado. Colorado's the last place team in the Western Conference, and the Earthquakes were actually up a man for basically the entirety of the second half and couldn't
Wow.
get the job done.
Not very Ted Lasso like.
No, not at all. They've had struggles on the road. But you know what? They got 4 out of 6 possible points on the road, and they're still in 5th place. 6 wins, 5 losses, 5 draws. They've got the Philadelphia Union coming to San Jose on
Good
the
luck.
10th. So
That's a good team. I mean, they
yeah.
made it to the playoffs last year.
It's gonna be a nice test for them to see where they stack up against an Eastern Conference opponent.
Yep.
So that's the end of the Earthquakes and soccer talk. Sock talk.
Sock talk. Wow. Just put a tube on the doorknob.
You crack me up, Vince.
What else we got, Vince?
That was basically it. I mean, we didn't go over the actual scores of the A's and Giants. So last week the A's went 2 wins and 1 loss against Atlanta at home, and then they go to Miami and drop all 3 games. This week they have 3.
They're already dead.
Yeah, they have 3 at Pittsburgh and 3 at Milwaukee this week. They're currently 12 wins, 49 losses. They're about to hit 50 losses. It's barely June. They're dead last in the AL West.
At this point, I just want to beat the Cleveland Spiders. I mean, I gotta have something to root
If
for.
we're gonna
right?
be bad, if you're gonna be bad, be the worst.
Yeah. Let's beat a record that is before the 1900s.
Yeah. As for the Giants, they went 1 win, 2 losses at home against Pittsburgh, 1 win, 2 losses against Baltimore. This week they're going to play 3 at Colorado, and then I think it's supposed to be 4 at Chicago. That's a 2 there. Maybe it's a typo.
The A's just tied it up, man.
Oh,
Top
hey,
of
what's
the eighth? So 4
top of the eighth?
in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Diaz had a big time double. Rooker scored. So hey,
The A's are
things are
minus-
looking up.
the A's are minus 190. So it's good bets.
Yeah. As for the Giants, they're 29 wins, 30 losses. They're 3rd in the NL West. How's that make you feel, Tyler? They're still ahead of your boys, right?
Dude, the Padres, they just got oh my god, I can't remember that catcher's name. That he got DFA'd from the Yankees. They just got him.
Yeah.
He's already hit 2 home runs. Let me tell you something. He's been with the team for a week. He has more home runs than Austin Nola, who's been with the team since last year. So
Damn.
Austin Nola looks like he might be DFA'd here soon. Like that's how bad.
He's washed. Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Tatis is having a great, pick up towards the second half here, or I'm sorry, getting to the halfway point here of the All-Star break. Soto actually is doing well. He's picking up his bat here. Everyone thought that might be kind of a bust situation given the fact that he came out slow out the gates when he got to San Diego, and he's been slow to start the season too. So he's starting to pick that up. His OPS is I think top 5th in the league right now. So that's starting to come alive. His walks is top 5th in the league too. So that's starting to come along. They're I mean, I hate to say it because I don't really care for the guy, but Manny Machado has been one of their best players, and he's been on the IL. He just came back, but he's not really playing. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they can get it all together. But yeah, that sucks. It sucks that we're literally about to be in last place.
Oh, did we mention that Daryl joked about the monorail going through Frontierland and ending in Tomorrowland?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did. Okay, cool. Just making sure we're all caught up. Thanks for the for the comments. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I
It's been
got
a
one,
lively chat group today, so I
I
appreciate
got
right.
it.
one.
This has been
I got
fun.
one final shit on John Fisher
Oh,
story
please.
that I haven't shared on here. So I met this gentleman. I'm not going to reveal his name. At the time I met him and spoke to him, he wasn't ready to go on the record, but he's a reporter. And as I was getting to know him, we're talking about the A's, we're talking about this, and I mentioned this before. At the beginning of the season, we were going to try to do this like feel good story about the A's and the history and stuff like that. And it just really felt like this Vegas announcement took the wind out of our sails, so
Really
to speak.
did.
And it really just, at the same time, it provided a silver lining because it gave us the motivation to go to do these live shows. We didn't do it until the day this was announced. So we got to find the silver linings in bad situations. But when I met this gentleman, he's a reporter. We started talking. This is a really nasty story. So he begins to tell me a story. So this started because John Fisher, through many of his shell companies with Sandy Dean, own this Sansom group, and then they own Humboldt Redwood and Mendocino Redwood. And I was just trying to do some research on finding out the type of businessman that John Fisher is. And as you guys were talking about some other segments, I was going through Twitter, and there's a political person in Las Vegas says John Fisher's a really nice man in a really difficult situation, and trying to spin it as if he's this really kind-hearted person. Let me tell you this story that obliterates that. He's not a kind person. He got into a land dispute with the gentleman that I met, this reporter. He got into a land dispute over land and where the property line was. The land was in this reporter's family for literally over a couple hundred years. His family has owned the land since the late 1800s, and they're in the logging and timber industry. John Fisher's company comes in, buys land. They get into this legal battle that lasts, I want to say 3 years approximately. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars this guy spent fighting John Fisher and his company because the company basically claimed ownership of this section of land. And unfortunately, to the reporter's fault, him and his family did not do enough land surveys. They were not able to legally prove that it was their land, even though it was. So long story short, the land that John Fisher took from this human being, it wasn't just a land of timbers. It was the family's pet cemetery, literally pet gravestones.
Wow.
From 200 years ago to now, where this family owns many, many acres. They don't do anything else. They're a family of, people working on the ranch and working in the timber industry. That's all they have. They're not Gap. They're not other things. This is their livelihood. This is their income, is the timber industry and this ranch they have there. And to take the family farm, or the family cemetery, is just ridiculous. That's what he did, So this argument of him being a nice man in a nasty situation, he created the nasty situation. He depleted this roster, didn't want to pay minor leaguers, laid off the minor league staff when the pandemic happened. And this is just more evidence of how he treats his business. This is not just the Oakland A's. This is how he treats the Gap. There's reports about how the Gap is run. Even though he's not the day-to-day operations guy of the Gap, it still reflects his personality. There's articles now that are coming out about how Gap corporate is ran and just how terrible it is. And now there's this information, what I'm telling you about taking someone's cemetery. He's just not a good person. Like, there's no way around it. This is not a good person to be leading a baseball team or leading any type of business whatsoever. He's a terrible person.
Yeah, he's got a 2 out of 10 score on the self-made billionaires list. and he's about a 2 out of a 10
He's
kind of a person
Not
as well.
self-made.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
inherently made.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point. Like a 2 out of 10 means you were basically handed everything to you. And
Yes. And Daryl, by the
so,
way,
yeah.
you're welcome. If you want to know more about the ACL League, just hit me up and I'll tell you all about cornhole.
Yeah. Definitely thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Joe, Mike, Jacob. I'm sure I missed. Oh, my dad showed up in the chat for a hot second as well. Just everybody for joining in and
I know
making
my
this a
dad's
lot of fun,
watching.
man. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun chatting it up with you guys again. And yeah, I'm glad I'm back hanging out, talking sports after a couple weeks being away. So
Yeah.
this has been a lot of fun. And I guess if anybody got anything else? No?
No, I'm good, man. We're coming up.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. You are listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell to get alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with you. I can't believe I stumbled on that because I'm the one
Slide
that
into our
created it.
denim.
Slide into our DMs. I got tongue-tied. I forgot to do my red
Tongue-tied.
leather, yellow leather. God damn it.
Well,
At least I didn't fuck up.
just don't go to a museum, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really gotta do that. All right. Have a good one, fellas.
Later, guys.
Love you guys.
Good night.
Good night.